Have you ever wondered how to best prepare for a film spotting session? Let's talk about it. If you're a film composer, then it should be no surprise that aligning your music with the story is the number one goal. Making sure that your music is the frame around the movie, around the picture, making sure that your music is not in the way, but rather enhancing what is happening on screen. So if you want more jobs, if you want to make a great impression for the director and the producers of the film, then it is essential that you take your job very seriously in the beginning phase of the filmmaking process, at least when it comes to the composer entering the picture. And that is known as the film spotting session. So the spotting session is when the composer gathers with the creative team, the most inward working parts of the film. That is the director, multiple producers at times, depends on who all is involved in the project, but it's usually less than 10 people. And what you usually do is you gather either at the director's house, the producer's house, or if you're at a studio, you'll actually meet in the cutting room where you'll have the editor there who can help make the cuts as you're talking about them. But the purpose of this spotting session is it is the one moment before you as the composer get to score the film. It is that one moment where you get to face-to-face talk with the creative decision makers for the film and hash out the ins, the outs of where all the cues are, which are the divisions of all the music in the film, and to decide when and when not to have music. So there are 3 ways that you could best prepare for a spotting session. Let's talk about it. Number 1, watch the film. Now, as obvious as this may sound, you'd be surprised by the number of composers who don't even watch the film before they meet up for the spotting session. The purpose of the spotting session is not to watch the film for the first time, even though it's new to you. Sometimes you only get it 24 hours, 12 hours in advance to the actual spotting session. But usually you'll get it at least a few days, sometimes a week or 2 before. And this is your opportunity to watch the film, to take notes of where you think music should and should not be, and to actually start generating ideas, because this is your moment to enter into the process with as much knowledge and as much preparation as possible. Number 2, take notes. When you're watching through the film before the spotting session, it's imperative that you watch it at least 2 times. The first pass through will just allow you to absorb the actual content of the film, and the second pass is when you should actually get out pen, paper, and just start jotting down your ideas for when you think music should enter, when you think music should end, and be as specific as possible, down to the word in a specific dialogue scene, or down to a specific action on screen that you really believe should start or finish music. And then I would also go one step further and take notes on your ideas of what type of music would really fit well to the picture in that moment. If it's an action sequence, for example, it might work multiple ways. So it might be in your best interest to go ahead and prepare by writing down, I think fast action orchestral string music would work well in this situation, or maybe slow piano, who knows? So this is your opportunity to really dive into some of the musical content so that you can later deliver that in your spotting session. Number 3, prepare demos. This is definitely one of the best ways that you can make a great impression, especially if this is your first time working with a particular film team. Going the extra mile and preparing demos in advance, having specific themes that you've already written for each of those main moments in the film, will put you so far ahead of every other composer that this film team's probably worked with, because people don't do that. But you'd be really surprised to know that the effect of writing these demos in advance is profound. Because what this does is when you actually get to the spotting session, you're no longer actually talking about theory. You're not just talking about hypothetically if you did something. Instead, you actually have real music that you can place to the picture in the moment, in the room. And what is so good about having an editor there, or the director, is they actually have the film open. They have the film session, and they can actually throw your music in right then, right there, and they can drag it across, and they can do really cool things like slow it down, speed it up. And as long as you have actual content to throw into the picture, you can actually have real discussions. And this saves so much time, and it can actually save weeks of work of writing the wrong style of music. And this will definitely cut down in the number of revisions you need later, because you have a real piece of music for the creative team to actually judge right there in the moment. Now that you've prepared for the spotting session, here's the best part. When you show up, don't talk. Specifically, don't talk unless you are asked a question. Because as a group of creatives, the person who is the loudest usually is the person who's the least secure and is the person who has the least confidence. So you want to be the person in the room that has the most confidence, and by preparing in advance, you show that you care, you show that you are really invested in this project, but it also gives you a sense of professionalism that when you're sitting in the room, you just get to sit there and allow the conversation to happen. And unless a question is specifically asked to you for your opinion, I would suggest don't say anything, because this is going to allow you to really stick to your guns, stick to your opinions without having to interfere and to create any sort of chaos in that moment. Now, let's say you don't agree with some of the decisions that are made there in the moment. That's okay. Behind the scenes, after the spotting session, that's when you can talk with maybe the producer, the executive producer, and you can have a side chat about, hey, I didn't really agree with some of these decisions. What are your thoughts on it? That way it's more of a team collaboration instead of you as the composer trying to force your music into the style or into the picture. Because ultimately your goal is to serve the picture, to serve the team. And so you have to set your ego aside and you have to humble yourself enough to enter the room with confidence, but knowing that at the end of the day, you're going to create music that serves the picture and makes it a great story. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this helps you prepare for your next spotting session, that you can walk in with confidence and professionalism. Is there something that I missed? Maybe? Let us know down in the comments below and let's chat it out. See you guys next time.